Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. Every year, we have the same conversations. We're talking about coaches that are on the hot seat, coaches that are facing the most pressure entering the season. And today, we're here to bring you our top 5. The top 5 coaches that face the most pressure entering 2024. And a few of these coaches may surprise you. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our website, thegridironexpert.com, home of our expert picks, some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country for one of the best prices in the entire country. You're not going to find a deal like this anywhere else, and you're not going to find results like this anywhere else either, because we've been beating out over 80% of the national handicappers each of the last 6 years. We guarantee it'll be 7 by the end of this year. You do not want to miss out on it, guys. Go sign up for those today. Full year-long subscription. It's going to be the best decision you make all season long. We also want you to become a member of our GE Nation. Check out our mailing address. Send us some of your team's gear. All this stuff back here has been sent in by you guys, members of the GE Nation. We'd love to get more of your teams up here to represent them, give you that shout out, have them on display all season long in every single video. So go check it out. The links for all of that down in the description below. The season's going to be here before you know it. For some of these coaches, the season may be getting here too soon. They might not want to face the music. They might not want to face the challenges that 2024 is going to bring, the pressure that 2024 is going to bring. These coaches are not listed in any specific order. We're not ranking them from most pressure to least pressure, but all of these coaches have a lot on their shoulders this season. Coming in at number 1, again, not in any specific order, we've got Mario Cristobal at Miami. The U has high expectations every single year, and rightfully so. They are one of the biggest brands in college football. They expect to compete for championships. They expect to contend. They do not expect to continuously lose. They do not expect to continuously go to the Pinstripe Bowl. 7-6 last year for Miami with a bowl loss to Rutgers. Mario Cristobal is just 12-13 in 2 years with the Hurricanes. That is not good. He needs a breakout year. You hit year 3 and you go 6-6 or 7-5 again. That's not going to cut it for the U. They're hoping this year's different, though. Cam Ward transfers in at quarterback from Washington State, one of the biggest transfer pickups this entire offseason in all of college football. Damian Martinez transfers in at running back. So maybe the offense is finally going to get going. It'll really be a competent, potent offense in the ACC. If I'm Miami, though, if I'm a Miami fan, I think you got to get a 9-win season out of Cristobal this year. I think a 9-win season is needed to kind of quiet the pressure down a little bit for him. The problem is that might be easier said than done. Miami has a tough schedule. They open the year on the road at Florida. They have another road game later on against a rising USF team. They play Virginia Tech in September. And then they have to go to Louisville at Georgia Tech, who's had their number as of late. Florida State, of course, in the annual rivalry game. It's not going to be easy for Miami. Many people have them projected to win around 9-10 games this year, which is pretty high, but can they live up to those expectations? I feel like we say that every year. Miami always falls short. If they do it again, Cristobal could be on his way out. How about Dave Aranda at Baylor? He's entering year 5 with the Bears and only has 1 winning season. That sounds kind of crazy to think about. Only 1 winning season with Baylor. Granted, that year was a 12-2 season with a Big 12 title and a Sugar Bowl victory. But since then, Baylor hasn't done anything. Aranda is 23-25 overall with Baylor, 9-16 the last 2 years. That includes a 3-9 season last year. So it went from 12-2 to 6-7 to 3-9. Surely Baylor can't get any worse. If they do, he's on his way out. And really, if Baylor can't make a bowl game, I think Aranda, unfortunately, is going to be on his way out. But he addressed a lot of needs, right? Really revamped the coaching staff, hit the transfer portal hard. They've got DeQuan Finn coming in at quarterback from Toledo, which was a big-time get, but the schedule's tough. They have to go on the road to Utah, home game against Air Force, at Colorado, at Iowa State. All of those games we just mentioned are within the first 6 weeks of the year. If Baylor doesn't find themselves at 3-3 after their first 6 games, it could be rough and could spell the end of the Aranda era. They've got to find a way to pick it up. They've got to find a way to fix it. It's kind of hard to believe this was a 12-2 team just a few years ago, but anything less than a bowl berth could spell the end of his time in Waco. How about Ryan Day? How about Ryan Day? One of these things is not like the other, right? We talked about Cristobal's 12-13 in 2 years. Aranda's 23-25 after 4 years. Ryan Day is 53-8 in 5 full years as the head coach at Ohio State. So why is he under so much pressure entering 2024? Well, it's because Ohio State has not lived up to their expectations over these last few years. They have lost to Michigan, their biggest rival, 3 years in a row, which has ultimately prevented Ohio State from going to and winning the Big Ten championship 3 years in a row. He has missed the college football playoff 2 of the last 3 years. And the only reason they got in a few years ago was because of the wildness in the standings. They didn't even win against Michigan. They didn't go to the Big Ten championship, but still slipped in at number 4 and lost that heartbreaker to Georgia. So it probably should have been 3 of the last 3 years they didn't make the playoff, but they did slip in 2022. But this is an Ohio State team that is now loaded. They are loaded on offense. They are loaded on defense. The playoff has expanded to 12 teams. So I don't think this is a matter of Ohio State fearing they could miss out in the playoff. That would be absolutely insane. But this is a matter of, can Ohio State beat Michigan? You cannot lose to Michigan for the 4th straight year. And even if you do lose to Michigan and you're 11-1, Ohio State still goes to the playoff. But what kind of playoff run do the Buckeyes have? Do they lose in the first round? Do they make the Final Four? Do they make the national championship? Do they win it all? This is a team that has national title expectations. And I think for the music to kind of quiet down, for the pressure to kind of get laid off of Ryan Day, he's got to get Ohio State to at least the Final Four. He's got to get them to the playoff semifinals for things to quiet down. If he's unable to do that, I'm not saying he's going to be out of Columbus, but the pressure is going to continue to mount. If he loses to Michigan again, fails to go to the Big Ten championship, and then has an early playoff exit, he very well could be gone. And if somehow he misses the playoffs entirely, he is absolutely gone out of Columbus. That's hard to believe with a coach that has a 53-8 record in 5 years, but the expectations of Ohio State are about as big as any program in the country, and currently I would say he's not fully living up to them. How about the SEC? We've got 2 more coaches here. Sam Pittman at Arkansas. He is entering year 5 with the Razorbacks with a 23-25 record. I feel like he's in a very similar situation to Dave Aranda. Had a fantastic season in 2021, led the Hogs to a 9-4 record, and then steadily declined after that. 9-4 to 7-6 in 2022 to 4-8 last year. Honestly, a very similar trajectory as Dave Aranda and the same exact overall record over their 4 years. But Arkansas did bring in Bobby Petrino to try to reinvigorate this offense, one of the worst offenses in the country last year. Petrino's coming in to try to fix it. The former head Hogs, kind of a wild situation in Fayetteville, but should be fun to watch. But Pittman's got to get the Razorbacks to a bowl game. If he can just get Arkansas to the 6-win mark, he keeps his job. Everything's good. Another year where the Razorbacks fail to make the postseason, and he very well could be on his way out. And like Aranda, like Baylor, it's easier said than done. The Hogs have to go to Oklahoma State. They've got to go to Auburn. They got to play Texas A&M. They got to play Tennessee. All those games happen before their bye week. They've got to find a way to win just one of those games and be at least 3-3 after their first 6 games. If they do that, they have a very good chance of getting to 6 wins. If they're 2-4 or worse, it's not happening, and he will be gone. So a very big year for Sam Pittman in Fayetteville. The expectations aren't that high. Just go to the postseason, and you'll be saved, but that might be too much to ask. And then finally, Billy Napier. Billy Napier at Florida. Florida is getting very, very impatient. Like Miami, like Ohio State, this is a program that expects to contend at a very high level. They do not like losing seasons. They do not take kindly to losing seasons. They don't even take kindly to 7 or 8 win seasons. They expect to contend, and they have not done that under Billy Napier. Back-to-back losing seasons for the Gators, including a 5-7 season last year that saw them go from 5-2 to ending the year with 5 straight losses. Napier is 11-14 in 2 years with the Gators, and he now has the toughest schedule in the country, especially that month of November. That month of November has Florida playing Georgia, at Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, and at Florida State. Very well could be an underdog at all of those games in the month of November. Very well, once again, could see them end the year with 5 straight losses, meaning the best they could get is 7-5, and that's if they take care of business in those first 7 games. That's easier said than done. They've got Miami in week 1, like we mentioned. It's a very difficult schedule. They've got UCF in there. They play 11 Power 4 opponents this year. The Gators do. It is a tough stretch, and to get the pressure off of them, I think he's got to clinch a winning season in the regular season. I think Napier's got to lead Florida to a 7 or 8 win season, which isn't even all that great by Florida standards, but considering the schedule would be quite the accomplishment. But that very well could be easier said than done. Another losing season or even just a 6-6 season might not cut it, and Florida could find themselves looking for another coach by the end of the year. So there you go, guys. The 5 coaches that face the most pressure entering 2024. Let us know if you agree, if you disagree. Who's a coach that we didn't talk about? Who's a coach on here that you think, they're fine regardless of what happens this year? Let us know down in the comments below. The season is fastly approaching for us, and it's fastly approaching for these coaches. It's time to see if they can deliver. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home of our expert picks. Do not miss out on those. Our mailing address is send us some of your team's gear to be featured in every single Gridiron Expert video. We want you to become a member of our GE Nation. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.